It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Happy Friday, everybody. How you doing? Thank you very much for being here. Another episode of The Oil Stream, part of the Nielsen Media Cool Bet Network, brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Nothing says the last warmish Friday of the winter, +1 today, like a nice warm Popeye's chicken sandwich. Tommy G, how are you, buddy?
I could use a nice warm Popeye's chicken sandwich right about now. It's winter. It just smacked us in the face, man. It's winter. It sucks.
I'm going outside after this to put up the boards for the outdoor rink because it gets cold next week. The ground's going to freeze big time next week. Yep. Today's the day. It has to be done today. I fly out tomorrow to go to a CFL game. I don't get back till Monday, and by then it's going to be -18. So I've got a 3-hour window this afternoon to get out there and get that done.
I admire that. You're bundling up. I, on the other hand, have to pick up someone who's in town for the game tomorrow. I had to apologize profusely for how cold it is. She's from a southern state. And I just said, bundle up. I'll have the car nice and warm, but outside of that, I can't help you. And
that's nice. You're a good guy, Tommy.
Thank you. The follow-up was a phrase full of expletives.
That sounds about right. You deserve that. You deserve that.
Thank you.
Hey, if you're watching on the live stream right now, feel free on Twitter to comment in the comment section. The Oil Stream is always streaming on YouTube as well. Just search Nielsen Media Entertainment, subscribe to that YouTube channel. And if you're a YouTuber, you can watch the Oil Stream over there. In addition to downloading the podcast, make sure you search all your podcast platforms and give us a sub over there. This text just says, comment from Snack10. He's a texter too. Date Tommy are the best Oil Stream eppies.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. Just leave it at that. Full recap early next week. Maybe there'll be an Oil Streaming 5. We'll see. We'll see how we can wrap that one up. All right, Tommy, we'll get to the Boston Pizza Appetizer in just a second. We'll get to inside the numbers as well. Let's just start overall last night. I mean, didn't think they played poorly until the third period, maybe. Up 3-1 heading into the third, and some mistakes, man. I mean, it's going to happen. You're not going to win every game. I was trying to calm everybody down today. People were pissed off. I thought New Jersey, it's not like they handed this game to the Devils. I thought the Devils worked hard and came back in this hockey game.
I'll start with they're a very good team. That was abundantly clear last night. The way they attack with speed, they're darting in and out. They're tenacious. They're right on top of you. I mean, the Oilers had lots of points in that game. They really didn't have a lot of room to move because the Devils could keep up with them and at times take advantage of slower Oilers skaters. And that's what happened. Yeah, there were mistakes. Like when you push and push and push, eventually the weaker points cave in, and that did happen. And we identified those mistakes on the postgame show. I'm sure you went over and recapped them this morning. And I know people would be frustrated. That is a tough way to lose. It stings. It's a harsh lesson. Absolutely. So the frustration is understandable. But then when you get past the anger and all of that, you go, well, why did this happen? Well, okay, New Jersey, first of all, they're playing really well. They now have a 5-game winning streak. Edmonton gets to try all over again to try to get to another 5-game winning streak. And the Devils have beaten some good teams in that process. And last night they showed us why and how they've been able to do so. So is it an opportunity wasted? 100%. Is it the end of the world? No. But now we can deep dive into some of the things that the Oilers need to work on as they're on the ice right now at practice. They hit the ice at noon our time.
Yeah, it looks like Jack Campbell is in the starter's net. Not a surprise for that game versus Dallas. So I think that probably would have been the plan no matter what anyway. Overall, I thought Skinner made a lot of really good saves in the first two periods to help the Oilers get to that lead. Obviously, would like to squeeze that third one, but a couple of mistakes by Ryan McLeod, who's had a really good season so far. McLeod makes a couple of mistakes that leads to a goal. Niemelainen makes a mistake that leads to a goal. Dylan Holloway, and we'll get to that during the Boston Pizza Appetizer, but Dylan Holloway makes a mistake that leads to a goal. I mean, these are all individual moments that Jay Woodcroft can sit down and say, you see what you did here? Don't do that again. You're going to be all right. Don't do that again. You're going to be all right. Like I didn't think it was an overall bigger picture. Oh my God, this team is in trouble type of moment last night.
No, and there was a few people who texted in, and obviously to them, the loss was inexcusable. And you know what? That's diehard Oiler fans, and that's fine. I mean,
they're going to view every game like that, aren't they?
Exactly. And that's the point. And thank you for summing it up in a much better fashion than I did. But when you look at those examples that you pointed out, Dusty, those are all guys in their first, second year. One guy like in his first 10 games of his National Hockey League career. So those young guys, inexperienced players, got exposed. Last night, there was a lot of text about Evan Bouchard. And I think, and we used it, Matt Cassian and I, as an example to say, hey, here's a good reminder that he's in his second full season.
Yeah.
Old man Bouch is not a fully seasoned National Hockey League defenseman just yet. And that was our kind of smack in the face wake-up call that, like these young guys, they're going to make mistakes, Dusty. And here's another thing. It's like, it's good that it happened early in the season. Let's see if these guys, how they respond to it. And if you're an Oiler fan, and we had a couple texts going, don't they need to upgrade the blue line? Yeah, at some point. That was my explanation, is at some point, when you're getting into the nitty-gritty of the season, going into the stretch drive, you want to upgrade your team for a postseason push. Absolutely. But with these young guys, these are experiences, Dusty, that they, in theory, will learn from. So, how much do you want to penalize them for a mistake made? A learning lesson, a term that was being used a lot last night, because at some point, like, you don't want to discourage them and beat them down so much that they're afraid to go out there next time, as opposed to you want to give them the lesson, show them where they erred wrong, and then see if they can improve and fix their game. And you got to throw them back out there. And it's a harsh way to lose, yes, but maybe they can take those elements and lessons out of them.
All right, let's dive into your Boston Pizza appetizer for all of our friends with Boston Pizza here in Northern Alberta. Happy hour. You want to get into that. Hey, it's Friday, right? Sneak out from work a little bit early. Go crush happy hour. I'm saying put in a shift. Hit both happy hours. That's what we need to do one day, Tommy. We need to hit happy hour in the afternoon, and we'll do that, that bit on Instagram or TikTok, wherever. It's like, hi, I'm Dustin Nielsen. This is my first drink. What we'll do is, hi, we're the Oil Stream. This is our first episode. Then we'll drink for 7 hours, and then we'll come back on, and we'll do an evening episode, and we'll be like, this is the Oil Stream. This is our final episode. What do you think? Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, it's doable. I don't know how well it'll go over. I'm sure our viewers and listeners would like it, and then sponsors might be questioning our judgment, but hey, that's what they signed up for.
Look, you've seen all the stuff we have to set up for an On Location and how much shit I have to do.
Yes.
Zero chance I can do that after drinking for 7 hours. So we never have to worry for that. But it's happy hour daily from 2 to 5, and then again from 9 to close at all of your Boston Pizza locations. All right, Tommy, this was a big discussion today on my show. I'm sure you got on the post game last night. What do you do with Dylan Holloway if you're the Edmonton Oilers? Played him for not even 5 minutes last night. Had the turnover that led to a goal. Had an assist later on. Still didn't even play 5 minutes. What do you do with this guy?
Right. That was his fourth game back since the injury, and his minutes, were slowly to climb. And then finally they did on Tuesday against Nashville. And then you're right back to where they were before that. And he's made mistakes in his games. That's kind of been a consistent thread throughout for Dylan Holloway's season, on top of that big hit he took from Lyubushkin. Maybe you give him a couple more tries, see how he responds. And then at that point, perhaps it's time to send him back to get a little more seasoning. I still like the fact that he's willing to engage. He's willing to try to make plays. He's making mistakes that, once you get to the NHL level, it's like, holy crap, I can't do that. I can't get away with it anymore. Those are harsh lessons. It contributed to the loss last night. So I think they give him a couple more tries, see where he's at. And if he shows signs of improvement like he did on Tuesday, game by game, they can keep him around. Or if he continues to make those simple mistakes or cost his team goals, then you send him back down for a little seasoning and he'll eventually get called back up. But I like the willingness for him to engage, try to create. And there's almost an element of no fear, but sometimes it's detrimental.
His last 4 games since returning from injury, 807, 529, 1053 with 14 shifts. That was a career high for him. I mean, this season. And then 435 against the New Jersey Devils. Now, he does have 2 assists in those 4 games, and the fourth line's been able to contribute a little bit. I feel like this goes one of 2 ways. Plays this next game against Dallas, sent down before they head out on the 4-game road trip, and he stays down there for a month or 2, gets up to speed, makes sure he's 100% healthy, gets some confidence back there, or you elevate him in the lineup a little bit. Like I don't think you can roll him around here for the next 3 weeks on the 4th line playing 7 minutes, right? We said coming into the year, well, the one thing they're not going to do with Dylan Holloway is play him on the 4th line, and that's right now. I don't know where the wiggle room is above there. I mean, I think something's got to give here at some point, doesn't it? Like,
right. And I tell you what, I feel like the consensus would be the wiggle room is either Yamamoto or Puljujarvi. And they lose yesterday, and maybe that's a breaking point to try to shuffle things up a little bit. Perhaps they do look at throwing him into the top 6 again and giving him a shot there. But he, like Niemelainen, like Bouchard, a young guy who's made some mistakes. So you don't want to completely discourage a guy, but give him another chance to see what he can do. But and Dusty, I'll end it with this. Like the plan for Holloway, it wasn't for him to make the team. Like he went out there and earned it. Absolutely. He had a great camp and he took that spot, and that's fantastic. Talking to people in the organization in the summer, they're like, well, if he goes out there and takes a spot like he did, then we can't say no to him and deny him a spot on the team. But they thought that it would end up being, well, he'll have a decent camp, show well. We'll send him back down to Bakersfield. And then around December, probably call him up and he's here to stay type of thing. Didn't necessarily work out like that. It's been a bit better, but there have been bumps along the road.
Yeah, I mean, Leon Draisaitl played like 40 games and had 3 points when he first broke into the National Hockey League. So there's no reason to really panic about this kid, that's for sure. That's your Boston Pizza Appetizer, Happy Hour, 2 to 5 and 9 to close every day. We'll see what the plan is with Dylan Holloway. If you're watching on the live stream and want to chime in, feel free to do it. Let's see. Canagon _F1 says JP and Yamo, one of them need to start scoring. I mean, Fogle would also be a candidate to slide down. He's got 1 assist as well. I mean, basically the 3 guys who were like, maybe Holloway could take a job from one of them. All 3 of those guys aren't really, well, they're not producing. Let's just say that. I don't think they're playing poorly, but they're not producing right now. So something's got to give there.
Fogel's hit the bar a few times. Like you could see him trying. He's trying, and he just can't. Like, I don't know if he's snake bit. I don't know if he just doesn't have the ability. Maybe he's just capped at 20 to 30 points a season and 10 goals, however he gets them. But
this season he's on pace for about 8. So like the Lions played well enough, but you do have to produce at some point. I think that's probably fair to say. Do you think, like we've seen, this is a group, that top 9 that's stuck together and they just won 5 in a row. But Jay Woodcroft also hasn't really hesitated to tweak every once in a while. So what do you think the approach is heading into this game on Sunday?
I haven't looked at Twitter to see if there's any updates with the Lions.
I'm trying to look right now and see what's going on with the Lions.
If you see, let us know. But usually after a loss or things don't go your way, that's like an opportunity for a refresh. So if the Lions have been shuffled up a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised today. Again, practice is going right now, so we don't really know for sure. But I would assume that if it doesn't click, if he sticks with the same lines that we've watched for the last 2 weeks, and it's not working early tomorrow against Dallas, I think he starts shuffling it up if he hasn't already at practice today. Yeah,
I could see them roll back what they did last game again, and then maybe if it doesn't work on the road trip, head on a 4-game road trip, kind of a reset point, and go and try something different out there on the road. Let's get to inside the numbers for our partners at CoolBet. If you would like to sign up for an account, just go to coolbet.com. Make sure you stay cool. Bet responsibly, bet within your means. Don't get too crazy. That's why they say stay cool, bet responsibly. That is our presenting gambling partner here on the Oil Stream. And watch for a pick probably Saturday morning. I'll throw something out for that afternoon game against Dallas. This was pointed out to me, I don't know if it was on Twitter and text or whatever, and this happens quite often. The Oilers' top 5 forwards were the top 5 forwards in ice time last night. I mean, the top 5 played over 21 minutes. And this wasn't a game when they were down 4-1 and they had to push them and push them and push them and push them. They were leading for almost half of this hockey game, or at least a period of this hockey game, Tommy. So I guess inside the numbers would be your thoughts on running these guys as heavily as they have early in the season on a team that many of us described having pretty decent depth at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I think part of it last night, too, was just how quick the Devils play, and they needed their faster guys and more veteran guys out there, and the fourth line suffered for it. I don't think the third line got a lot of ice time in that third period either. But, the top five being around 20 minutes a night, they're all in the prime of their lives. They're fit. As long as they're not bumps and bruises that they're dealing with.
That's what I worry about, like more opportunity to get injured because you're playing so much.
Yeah, we're in a little sample size here, but I'm not that surprised. I think it'll continue. But if the team starts to win again, like it was on that 5-game winning streak, and can do it in convincing fashion and has good control of games, then I think we'll see those numbers reduced a little bit. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if we will. We'll
I said a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit.
I don't know. Where do you come out on Shore and Ryan? 6 minutes last night. Can they play more than that? Do you think they should play more than that? I think they can play more than that.
Depending on the situation. Absolutely. Yeah. They're more than capable.
But you also need to let these guys play to get into some situations.
Yeah.
Right? That's one thing Derek Ryan talked about when Jay Woodcroft took over last year, was he's allowing people to have the responsibility a little bit more than just try. Basically, last night would have been McDavid line, Draisaitl line, one of the other lines very quickly. McDavid line, Draisaitl line, the other one of the other lines very quickly. McDavid, you know what I mean? It's just, I think you got to allow those other guys to be put in some spots that you eventually may need them in later in the season.
Fair. But I think it was a speed matching type of thing, and situation, trust, all of that, and didn't work out in the end. But yeah, I think we might see those big dogs numbers come down time-wise.
Not much.
A little bit. Not much, depending on the situation.
Yeah. We'll see about it, because, Hyman penalty kills, Kane penalty kills, Nuge penalty kills, Draisaitl penalty kills. So they're all out there in every situation, right? So
right. I was looking at the schedule and I'm like, you know what? Edmonton's played a lot of pretty damn good hockey teams. Buffalo's off to a pretty good start. Obviously, New Jersey's playing great. They've had Carolina, St. Louis twice. Chicago was rolling when the Oilers faced them. They had Calgary when Calgary was playing well, and Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh was playing well. I look at Vegas and I'm like, okay, they're 10-2 now, I believe. And I looked at their schedule. They've had the Ducks and Sharks recently. They had Winnipeg twice. They had Toronto in there. And I was like, boy, that's a juicy schedule. And so comparing it to Edmonton, to me, I'm like, Edmonton has faced some stiff competition so far. And it doesn't get any easier this week either coming up.
Well, that's a really tough road trip. I know they just played really well on the road. But what is it? It's Washington, Tampa, Carolina, Florida, Carolina, whatever. Yeah. That's if you come back with 4 points from that trip, I think that's really good. That's not an easy trip. So
I called it a murderer's row, and Jack Michaels scoffed it. Well, Washington. Oh, come on. You already beat Carolina. It's those are good teams, homie.
It's still, it doesn't mean it's not a very difficult road trip.
Yeah.
I think that's so good. We'll have to talk to Jack when they go 1-3.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, you thought they were going to do so good on that trip.
But you do make a fair point. Their schedule compared to Vegas is so far 7-4, considering who they've played. Not that bad so far for the Oilers. Tommy, what time do you get rolling on Saturday with the pregame show on TSN 1260?
We go at 12:30. We're only doing an hour and a half, which is going to be great. We'll get somebody on from the Stars to talk a little bit about them. And as always, Maddie Cassian, who's fantastic as usual, and plenty of texts, all that good stuff to get you going on a Saturday afternoon.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of The Oil Stream. Mr. Gazzola.
As always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Smash that thumbs up button. You know how we roll. Have a great weekend.